All right, it is not quite late September, and I just wanted to show off my screener that I'm using for dirt. You can use it for compost or anything else you want to screen. This is a dirt pile. You can see the kids have been up here playing and decorating. They're taking a break down there right now. But this is just a big old dump truck pile of dirt. The county, way down here down the road, did a turnaround, a big paved turnaround, and they got an easement from me, and so we got a dump truck load of dirt moved up here whenever they were doing a bunch of dirt work. And so I'm using this to fill garden beds that I'm building. But I mean, look at the rocks. This little pile is just from the last 2 wheelbarrow loads. I mean, that's a pretty good sized pile of rocks, you can tell. And I mean, you can just see all the rocks in this dirt. So I just shovel it in there and then use my hands. You can shake it back and forth. You can have a rope system set up. Since I move this around so much, I just put it on the wheelbarrow and then run the dirt back and forth. Now, this is 1/2-inch hardware cloth. If I was being finicky and really wanting to get all the little rocks out, I could go down to 1/4-inch hardware cloth, do a double screening. I am not that finicky. I'm going to be mostly putting perennials in. There's rocks in the dirt all over the place. They're going to have to get used to a few, in my opinion. Whenever it comes, there's a big clump. You can work down into a smaller clump. Whenever it comes to the beds I'm planting, I'm not being picky about tiny little rocks. So there is quite a few rocks that are going to get dumped into that pile. Let's take a brief look at the dirt that we are getting out of this. So here's a stick. You could throw a stick out if you wanted, but by and large, much better in this wheelbarrow load of dirt. I like to fill this almost full before I have to pack it back down the road. And then I throw the rocks in this little pile here. I'm going to come back and get them as backfill for my rock terrace wall that I'm doing. And then go back to shoveling more. I've made some steps for the kids to play on to jump up here as I shoveled. But this is drastically improving the quality of the soil in the beds. And also, I have noticed if you mulch them and you keep from walking on them, the soil stays loose. Very, very loose in a good way. And so whenever you go to pull a weed, I mean, you pull the roots and all the way up. You pull the spine off of those weeds. So it's great to put plants in, and their roots can go through the dirt so much easier with this loose soil. I've noticed there was one bed in my new garden beds I did not put in sifted, screened soil and compost, and man, there is a huge difference in pulling the few weeds that come up through the deep mulch and the plants growing. A pretty significant difference. This is just much better. So if we can keep from walking on it, like I'm hoping we can do with my current setup, then the soil will remain loose and much easier for plants to grow in, earthworms to move around in, all of that for many years. So this little screener is just wide enough to sit on the wheelbarrow. It's just 2 foot wide by, I think it's 2 foot by 2 foot. I'd have to go back and measure it. But very simple to make. Very simple to attach the hardware cloth to. All I did was put boards across here and pinch the hardware cloth in between these boards with screws. So it's just done that way all the way around, and I've got to tell you, this thing, for no more effort than I have in it, is just so handy whenever I am getting wheelbarrows of dirt from big ugly piles like this. So I encourage you to build one if you don't already have one. You can use it for compost, you can use it for soil, you can use it for drying onions. There's a ton of things you can use these little hardware racks for.